do to drive viewership? They invested heavily in radio. You got it. Television's turning to radio to promote their products. The last week of September, ABC, CBS, and Fox were 3 of the 8 biggest spenders on radio. Really, it shouldn't come as a surprise, as radio reaches 93% of the U.S. population on a weekly basis. Let's put the power of radio to work for you. Even television owners know, with radio, you don't have to see our ads to get results.
ON Radio. WOON Woonsocket. With great music just for you. News, weather, and coffee and two. WOON Woonsocket.
Massachusetts Governor Charlie Baker is indicating that President Trump is taking the wrong approach in sending troops into Portland, Oregon. Baker says he only believes federal help should be brought in if requested by local officials. Trump ordered Department of Homeland Security officers into Portland to help stop violent protests there and to protect statues and monuments. Boston Mayor Marty Walsh has also criticized the president for sending federal officers into Portland as well.
Tonight, mostly cloudy skies, overnight low of 71, still a 50% chance of showers and thunderstorms overnight. Friday's weather, partly sunny with a high of 86. Saturday, mostly sunny and 88. Sunday, mostly sunny and 91. Monday, mostly sunny and 93. Tuesday, partly sunny with a high of 89. And next Wednesday, mostly sunny and 85.
The crescent moon in the twilight.
Good morning and welcome to Coffee Ann, the longest-running panel discussion show in American radio. To make a comment or ask a question of the panel, call 401-766-1240 or email coffee@woonsocketradio.com. And now, let's join the Coffee Ann panel.
And a good morning to you. Thanks for joining us on ON AM and FM, 1240 AM, 99.5 FM for the Coffee Ann program on this Thursday morning. It's July 23rd. My name is Joe Callahan, and across the table from me, after he's been done Lysoling the place, Dave Richards. Good morning, Dave.
Yes, the janitor came in early this morning and swabbed the decks.
Oh,
Hi, Joe. Good morning, everybody. Lovely day.
And joining us on the phone right now, a respected member of the law,
the bar.
In the legal department
the bar.
Of the bar, Bob Lauder. Good morning, Bob.
Good morning. Good to see you. I'll be with you, rather.
Well, it's good to see you as well.
And Dave, once you finish swabbing down over there, the office could use a little bit of...
I know, it gets tiresome after a while, doesn't it?
Sure does.
Yeah, but he doesn't do windows, Bob.
Oh, right. Oh,
so,
well, then
sorry
the
about
deal's
that.
off.
Especially your windows. They're tough to reach.
Well, it's got a lot of stained glass windows in that
that's right.
former church there.
You got to get a big ladder to open that way.
The squeegee doesn't work on stained glass, Joe. So it takes you forever to clean that stuff.
Sure thing. Now, later on this morning, Bob, we're going to be joined in studio by Mike Strout. Mike is the owner of Gotta Q Smokehouse Barbecue. They're located in Cumberland on Menden Road in the Sierra Plaza. And he's got something new on his menu he's going to talk about. They're called tater bombs. All right?
Whoa.
So get ready and get all your potato questions ready, okay?
Now, wait a minute. You guys are going to be able to enjoy the samples, and I'm sitting out here in the wilderness, and...
Well,
I don't think he's bringing samples.
I don't think he's bringing any, but you could get in your car and come on over.
Thank you.
We didn't order any samples.
No,
put it that way.
So he's just going to talk about it.
Because then Mike would pout and say, well, you only want me for my taters.
I only like him for his pulled pork.
Yeah.
So Mike's coming in at 8:30 to talk about that. So comments and questions can be called in, 766-1240, or email them in to coffee@woonsocketradio.com. And we do have a note that was written in yesterday, but it's kind of a moot point. It talks about the Toronto Blue. I'm sure Bob's up on this. It talks about the Toronto Blue Jays playing their home games in Pittsburgh at PNC Park. But word came out last night that the state of Pennsylvania said no.
The Commonwealth is against it.
Yeah, you cannot play your games here.
Why?
Okay. Well, it's got to do with coronavirus. To narrow it down to one reason.
Well, I thought that Canada had banned some of the teams from coming across the border.
Well, they didn't. No, Canada banned Toronto from playing their home games in Toronto.
Okay.
Because they didn't want teams coming in from the United States.
Actually, they didn't.
No, the federal government did.
No, they said, well, you can't do this, and it's like this, because when you come back in, you have to quarantine.
Well, yeah.
So you can't go to the
So
stadium.
you can't do it, yeah.
Right. So, but that was the deal.
Okay.
It wasn't that, oh, by the way, you can't use your stadium. It was like,
Well, right.
oh, by the way, you want to go? Fine. See ya. You want to come back? That's going to be a problem.
Okay. So now...
I didn't realize Pennsylvania, though, had closed down all sporting events.
Well, they had. Pittsburgh offered and said, well, you know, the Pirates will be away, and you could come in and use ours. And,
Right.
And since there'll be no fans, it's really no big
cares?
deal. So come on in. But then, the state government came in and said, no, you can't do that. So now they're still looking. And one of the things they thought about doing was going to Buffalo. Now, Buffalo has a AAA team, like Pawtucket.
And it's right across the border.
And it's very close. But there's a problem. And it's got to do with the lighting. And the lights they use in Buffalo are not the same that they use at Major League parks. So it's a little darker. So they're not up to Major League level snuff. So they can't go there. Well, they don't want to go there and play in the dark.
Yikes.
And so now and they brought it up again on Nesson last night. You know, well, let's say, you know,
during the rain delay?
Just before the rain delay. They said, well, if they're going to come in, if they're supposed to play in Toronto, the Red Sox are supposed to play in Toronto, we'll just have Toronto come to Fenway and they'll be the home team.
Right.
Which sounds logical, but it was also pointed out to me yesterday, the problem with that is the players for Toronto now don't have a home. And they're just nomads for the next 2.5 months.
Right.
And they want to have a place.
That's tough when you're making $150 million, man.
I know.
You just can't do that.
I know you're not going to have sympathy for them, but they want to have a place to come home, have and they're going to make so much money they can rent a house or
Right.
whatever.
Sure.
So that's where their family is going to be.
Right.
So they can come home and see their family for a week,
Right.
play at one place, and then go back on the road.
Okay.
Well, that's what they want to do. So this nomad life of moving around from stadium to stadium to stadium, they'll never have that. And so they're living out of their suitcase for the next 2.5 months is not appealing to them, so they don't want to do that. But it may come to that. Go ahead, Bob.
I thought some of the teams were actually isolating their players away from family and from virtually everybody.
Okay, now you're mixing up your sports.
Okay.
That's the NBA and the NHL. They're going to do that, and the players have already agreed to that. Actually, no, because the NBA is playing in Orlando. They're bringing their family with them. Mm-hmm. So they're not traveling around the country. They're all in one place, so they're still with their family. Same thing with the NHL.
And while Mom and the kids are on Dumbo and the
they're going to go play basketball.
Small World Ride and stuff like that, they'll be out playing basketball.
So
Daddy's going to go to work. We're going to Disney World.
So baseball's different, Bob. They'll be away from their families for the next 2 months, and they're trying to work out a way where they don't have to do that. And it's kind of tough because...
If baseball is going to be played again in stadiums where they only have the cardboard cutouts and real people won't be there, why doesn't baseball follow the same idea that the basketball and hockey has of getting a central location and doing everything within the confines of that location?
It's too late. They may have thought of that idea, and they actually did think about that idea. And they said, we should do it in Florida, Texas, and Arizona. Well, guess where coronavirus is spiking?
That's right. Florida, Texas, Arizona.
Arizona. So they knocked out those 3 states, and they said, well, where could we do it? And they said, well, we couldn't find a place. Now the season actually starts today, Bob.
Tonight.
Yankees,
Tonight.
Yeah. Yankees and Mets playing. The Dodgers and San Francisco play later on tonight. And then...
Yankees and Mets, you mean?
I think it was Yankees
and Nationals.
I'm sorry, I'm getting my names...
yes, the World Series champion Washington Nationals.
That's right, Dr. Fauci's throwing out the first ball tonight. Mm-hmm. So Toronto's still got a few more days with the season starting because they start on the road anyway. Ironically, they're going to Florida to play Tampa Bay first this weekend. Then they come up north and they play the Nationals, and then they were supposed to go home. So they have till about the middle of next week to try to figure out where they're going to play.
Mm-hmm.
Still up in the air. So that's where we are with baseball. You all see? Are you completely confused, Bob?
Absolutely.
Meanwhile, another coronavirus news. Joe, you know, I belong to this trade group, and we have a lot of friends who own and manage radio stations across the world. Well, we got the report in from Australia I hope I don't make any mistakes in this. I'm doing it from memory. But Dave tells us that there's a big problem in Australia. Now, generally speaking, Australia has survived COVID, and they're in pretty good shape. They actually have one province that has 0 cases, and it's not bad. But the Victoria, I believe, province, and New South Wales, those are the ones that are having problems. I think it's Victoria has 3,100 active cases right now, which is a lot for them. So they closed the border. But they have cities that are, border them. So now if you just go to the other side of the city, you have to cross a river to get to the other city. And it's a 2-lane bridge. And now it'll take you 4 hours to get across the 2-lane bridge. And when you get to the other side of the bridge, they give you a ticket for a 14-day quarantine.
Okay.
And with them, 14-day quarantine is go to your house, lock the door, don't even come out for the paper.
Wow.
Australia is
tough.
pretty strict.
Yeah.
Yeah, Australia's pretty strict.
It's almost like New Zealand.
But now the people in Minnesota and Ohio, we have a lot of friends that are in those states. They're coming up and saying, "Oh, geez, tomorrow at 6 o'clock they're going to make masks mandatory. They'll never get away with this." And I'm, and the guy, a member of the organization from New York, and myself were sitting back chuckling. You idiots! We've been under this mandatory mask stuff now for months.
Yeah.
Nobody likes it. Everybody does it. And but they're saying
And it's working.
yeah, and they're saying that right now, for instance, in Minnesota, it's 20 to 25% compliance, and in Ohio, it's 30%.
Wow. Okay.
Compliance with masks. But I made note of it. Now, if the fabulous Denise and I go out for a nice evening walk to exercise, we'll probably run across a bunch of people who don't have masks, but we all have them on us. And as we approach them, they or we will take the masks and put them on because it's a small sidewalk. You can't get 6 feet apart.
Yeah.
Or in one case, I know we go, if there's a safe way to do it, you go out off the sidewalk into the road and come back onto the sidewalk
Tough
again.
on Park Avenue.
Well, believe it or not, there's a couple places on Park Avenue you can do that safely. Yeah,
Okay.
sure, because there's parking on this side of the street, and there's no car there, so nobody's going to drive on that stretch because there's a parking lane. So anyway, there's a lot of that. But boy, when you get near the stores, not a soul without something on their face. Seriously, people are taking it seriously, and we're getting the benefit. That's good.
All right.
The resistance to wearing masks, they keep saying it's a political statement. But do you really think it is? I mean, finally the president has decided that wearing masks are important. I know he hadn't really pushed that in the past. But how did it become so politicized, even though he never really mentioned not wearing?
Well, that's easy, Bob. You know the answer to this one, really. You must be asking rhetorically. It's not a political thing. It's only politicized in the current political environment. It's always an us and them, us and them, us and them. And if you're not like us, then you're wrong. Get off the planet. And that's that's the attitude that's going on right now. You see, the president is actually targeting cities run by politicians who are elected and they are affiliated with the Democratic Party. He's not sending federal troops into Republican-led cities. He's sending them into Democrat-led cities.
Well, that's where the problems are.
Well, I'm just telling you.
I'm not sure the problems are as deep as they are, but I look back to what General Mattis was saying approximately a month ago when he was suggesting that using military force in Washington, D.C. was putting the military against the American public. That wasn't what the military was supposed to be doing. And he was very concerned about how we're damaging our view of our own military and their forces.
But Bob, if the populace is attacking federal buildings, what are you supposed to do?
How, are they attacking federal buildings?
Yes, they are.
And in what way?
They're breaking windows, throwing rocks, lighting fires,
tearing down statues and monuments.
A lot of graffiti. They're attacking the buildings. They're making it
I would
unsafe
think
for the people that work there to go there.
I would think that bringing in federal troops to prevent people from breaking windows and writing graffiti,
Breaking federal laws.
breaking federal laws, maybe, but at the same time, I think that is an overreaction in force entirely.
Well, it certainly hasn't been custom for most of this country's existence. But then again, we have an administration that just doesn't give a fig about customs and what's always been done.
I fear that the present administration doesn't give much consideration to the real rule of law and the real enforcement of the American Constitution.
Well, that would be an opinion. And, of course, whether or not they should go in and protect their federal property is certainly a matter for public debate. What I'm saying is that you asked about how did it get politicized. It got politicized because the chief executive of the federal government said it that way in a political, partisan context. That's how it got politicized. You down through my lifetime, I've always known that the president says something, people listen, because the president considers what he's going to say carefully, because he knows that both his supporters and his detractors will hear it differently, so he tries to say it in a way that will get his meaning across and be the most effective, I think is the best way to say it. This president has no such filters. He'll just say what's on his mind. And, I mean, every single human being, every citizen of this country can go on TV or radio and make a fool of themselves because we're not practiced politicians and we're not always careful or even understand how people will take the way we're saying things. Unfortunately, we have a president now who's the same as us.
Well, it all depends on if you agree with him. And when he just says, if the politicians in those cities, Chicago, Portland, Albuquerque, if they're not going to restore order, I'm going to restore order for you. Plain and simple.
I am very, very concerned about that. I see a national government coming in and saying, we are taking over, we're not letting you have your state's rights, as it were. We're coming in and we're going to absolutely take over control. The photographs that they've had on the news regarding the seizure of various people in Portland is very troubling to me. It harkens back to a lot of very firm and fascist actions by governments in Europe in the 1920s and 1930s, and it has a whole lot of bad connotations that I think are far more dangerous to our country as a whole than broken windows and graffiti.
All right, Bob, good thoughts. And we got more coming up on the Coffee and program. Got to take a break. If you have any comments or questions, give us a call, 766-1240, or email them into me, coffee@woonsocket.radio.com.
The S. DePardo Memorial Chapel Funeral Home provides a comfortable and welcoming environment because they believe that funeral arrangements should ease your burden, not add to them. The staff at the S. DePardo Memorial Chapel Funeral Home will work with you to individualize the life of the deceased and help you plan a personal tribute while guiding you through all phases of the process. For information about pre-planning and cremation, please call 767-5577. The S. DePardo Memorial Chapel Funeral Home, 1583 Diamond Hill Road, Woonsocket.
I'm here with Kara Benjamin of the Benjamin Insurance Agency. Kara, what can you tell me about the insurance industry?
The industry changes so frequently due to many different factors, things like increased weather-related storms, the invention of smartphones and social media, which increase the amount of distracted drivers, even the cost of cars. Today, people are buying $30,000, $40,000, even $50,000 cars with every kind of option you can think of. All these things impact the insurance industry, and it's important to keep current.
You're in good hands with Allstate and Kara and Celeste Benjamin of the Benjamin Insurance Agency, 125 Eddie Dowling Highway, across from Dowling Village in North Smithfield, 765-5000.
Our business is truly a referral business, and we have built it based on our premier service level and commitment to what we do. If you are looking for personalized service with people who care, that would be us.
Chan's Fine Oriental Dining is well recognized as a major dining and entertainment venue in Rhode Island, the Northeast, and beyond. Patrons can choose from an excellent selection of Oriental cuisine, including popular combination dishes, lo mein and noodle dishes, vegetarian entrees, and seafood. Chan's also offers traditional favorites like 10 varieties of their unique fried rice, chow mein, chop suey, and poo-poo platters. Be sure to check their outstanding jazz, blues, folk, and comedy performers. Chan's at 267 Main Street, Woonsocket, 765-1900.
The Coffee and Panel is enjoying coffee from Down East Coffee in Pawtucket. They're a 62-year-old family business that roasts all its coffee right here in Rhode Island. Founded originally as Excellent Coffee Company, they provide great coffee to food service establishments throughout New England.
ON Radio.
It is Coffee and on ON Radio. This is Joe Callahan. Bob Lauder is here. Hello, Bob.
Hi.
And Dave Richards is here. Dave wants to talk about Chan's for a minute. Dave.
Well, I just heard the Chan's ad go on, Joe, and I just want to add something because I talked to John Chan yesterday, and he says go to the website for an update on egg rolls and jazz at Chan's.
Okay.
And you know what the website is?
Egg rolls and jazz.
EggRollsandJazz.com.
Because Chan's was taken.
All one word.
Okay. Hey, Bob.
Yes.
There's a front story in today's call. Have you seen today's call?
No, I haven't.
All right. And something I don't understand. A man from Lincoln is free on personal recognizance. And now, according to the story, he brandished a knife, slapped his girlfriend, and threatened to behead her children. This is pretty serious. And a 6th District Court judge set bail at $10,000 personal recognizance and let him out.
Well,
and he's charged
several
with...
things.
What's going on here? Why would he be let out?
Well, first of all, I would expect that he's let out with a restraining order on him that he cannot have contact with the parties involved.
Okay.
And secondly, the judge, you're looking at a summation of what they believe the charges were. But the judge would have probably had an opportunity to look at the actual charges themselves, which may go into further detail. He may have found that some of it did not rise to the level of being a credible threat, beheading the children and things like that. And he may have felt that the individual was not a flight risk, which is one of the elements you take into consideration when you're making a decision on bail. And secondly, that the restraining order would be sufficient to keep the parties safe and at the same time have the man come back for the further hearing.
Also, Bob, you probably can imagine, and I use that word carefully, that in the actual situation, what the police officers who responded, and this happened, by the way, here in Woonsocket, the River's Edge complex, what the police officers were told and what actually can be proven or what actually happened might be three different things. So, he could say, no, I didn't say anything about beheading kids, for Pete's sake. That's her making it up.
Possibly. Okay. You're right, Bob. He is out on personal recognizance, and he remains under a court order to keep away from the victim.
That's very traditional.
Okay.
Yeah. Standard procedure.
If you look later on in the story, it's alleged that he was making her, told her that she had to sleep on the floor because he had cameras set up so he can keep an eye on her. So there's more going on here, and maybe he made that threat against the kids, and maybe he didn't. That would have to be proven, I guess. In a court of law. So
we're not here judging the case, but what I was trying to do is contribute to what Bob was saying. When you get in front of the judge will decide bail or personal recognizance or whatever based on the facts that he believes that are brought in front of him. And so, did I get it right, Bob?
As to the likelihood of the individual fleeing and not coming back into the jurisdiction in order to be prosecuted,
right,
and the apparent dangerousness of the individual immediately.
Sure. Any immediate danger to themselves or others. And forgive me, I used the improper pronoun there. It's the judge, they. Could be he or she. We don't, yeah.
All right, moving on. I heard Dave do this story earlier, and it just reminds me of
did a story?
Of the governor. She's not happy with the 20-somethings.
Oh, gosh.
They're just not sticking apart. And we got to do a better job, and you can't be going to parties.
Do you know how she's characterized outside of New England?
How?
A scolding mother.
you're right. That's exactly how it is, and it's exactly what I thought of. And, Bob, I want you to take a listen to this, because I think it sums up the whole thing, because it's the summer of 2020. There'll be no having fun. Okay? So take a listen, because I think this sums it up. Hang on here. Oh, hang on here, and let me get this right.
Who is Mr. Hip Joe Callahan?
When I look back at the best times of my life, none of it was for my own good.
There you go. When I look back on the best times of my life, none of it was for my own good.
Yeah.
So, and that's the way.
That was the voice of Jack Klugman.
Jack Klugman, in the
wasn't it? Yeah, a little excerpt that you had.
But that's the way the governor is looked at. What we're doing is for your own good. So stop having fun because it's for your own good.
Right.
You know, and when your mother was saying the same thing to you back when you were a kid, if you guys don't play nice, you're not going to play at all.
Yes.
You know, she was right. It doesn't come across as polite, terribly, but you know, your mom was right. If you're not going to play nice and you're going to fight with each other and hurt each other, then you're not going to be together and have the opportunity to do that.
But when you're 10, you should be listening to your mother. But when you're 25,
you should have listened and know better.
You're all on your own now.
I don't agree. I don't agree with that under the present circumstances. Right. Under the present circumstances, I think that it is appropriate for the political leaders in the community to make decisions regarding what the nature of contact is going to be. We've seen the governor of Florida, who was very deliberate in making sure that the state remained open as long as possible, and as a result, they seem to have extraordinarily high coronavirus infections. Whereas in the north, I think that by following Mama Gina's instructions, we have been much better.
True, but she wants us to do even. You got to do even more.
Oh yeah, and she's playing the tough guy now with the schools reopening. Mm-hmm. She says, "Okay, now you're all going to open on August 31st. I want to see 3 plans in front of me by the 15th of July. We take a look at them. It's the same 3 plans from everywhere. It's a big hybrid thing. Nobody's selecting Plan A and going back fully. I don't like that. A lot of kids are going to get hurt because of that. Go back and come up with another answer. You're all smart people in the education profession. Come back and do better." And they're looking at her saying, well, then what restrictions are we dealing with? With the restrictions we're dealing with today, we can't do any better than this. Mm-hmm. It's a matter of physics. You can't put 40 kids and distance them 6 feet apart in a 30-foot by 30-foot room.
Yes. It's impossible.
So, right, it is. I mean, this is impossible. To say nothing of the corridors in school to try to keep 6 feet apart and all the rest of it. So you come up with how about you coming up with an idea? No. You're the educators. You come up with the ideas. I'm the executive. I can make unreasonable demands. You must fulfill them. And that's what's going on in that sort of deal like that. But just for the conversation's sake, I have a friend who's a business person, also a very, very big feminist, and they walk around and they're all strutting and saying our governor is so wonderful because she's a lady and she takes no baloney from anybody and all the rest of this sort of stuff and that's why Rhode Island is in good shape, because we're run by a woman.
I think we're run by a very intelligent individual who has the courage of conviction and who is willing to take the heat for decisions which are not particularly popular.
Well, she has to take the hit, whether or not she's willing or not.
I think is entirely irrelevant to the situation.
So do you know what I told them? Because they're fairly close, so I can speak frankly to them. You have a guess on what I told them?
No.
Well, it could be one of 2 extremes. You said that they were completely wrong, or you said, hey, I joined your bandwagon.
Incorrect.
Oh.
No, I didn't do either of those 2. I said to my dear friend, sexism is unattractive on anyone.
Whoa, you are good.
They throw you out?
Well, I didn't change their mind, but they accepted it.
Okay.
They weren't angry with me. I just said, I just called them unattractive. Actually, I called their behavior unattractive. But I just said sexism is unattractive on anyone, just like racism is unattractive on anyone.
To use the same analogy, then the mayor of Chicago is a woman.
Oh?
Shall we say that she's doing a lousy job running the city because she's a woman?
Are you saying
I'm
that she's
completely
doing a
out of the
lousy
loop
job
on that
running the
news.
city?
What was that, Bob?
Are you saying she's doing a lousy job running the city?
I think of Chicago, yes. And it's got nothing to do with whether she's a woman or not. She's just doing a lousy job, in my opinion.
And how do you think the situation can be improved in Chicago?
We're going to bring in the National Guard.
Oh gosh, no! Don't be doing that.
The National Guard.
They'll be understaffed and undergunned.
Bob, I have no idea how to do it because, and I never said I knew how to do it. I never said, oh, you should do it like this because I've never been in her position. Right now, things look bleak. That city and a few other cities. Yeah. How to change it, I don't know.
The National Guard, I think, would be at a disadvantage in Chicago. With the gangs that I hear about in Chicago, right?
Not enough.
Gangs that are well armed. They have arsenals.
Yeah.
They know all the hiding places. And whenever you are a military or paramilitary force that goes in with restrictive rules into area where guerrilla warfare is potentially possible, you are at a disadvantage.
All right, we're going to take a break right now. It's time for the weather forecast being brought to you by Gas Buddy. Fuel better.
Have some gas, buddy.
Mostly cloudy today. High temperature will be near 90 degrees. There is a 50% chance of showers before 2 o'clock this afternoon, and then scattered showers after that.
And
now,
the thunderstorms.
Tonight.
Tell them about the thunderstorms. They got 2 paragraphs about the thunderstorms
We
there.
could have large hail, regular size hail, and small hail, depending on where you are, with damaging winds, gusty winds, and possibly heavy rain.
Or you could have nothing.
You could have nothing.
Right.
So it all depends on the weather.
just be aware. Just to be aware of the potential.
Tonight, we will have mostly cloudy skies and a low temperature around 71. Friday's weather, partly sunny, slight chance of showers, high near 86. Friday night, partly cloudy, low 61. Saturday, mostly sunny, high 88. Sunday, mostly sunny, high near 91. Currently outside the Navigant Credit Union broadcast studio at the corner of Park Avenue and Kennedy Street, we have 79 degrees. Hate paying too much for gas? Then you need Gas Buddy. Gas Buddy saves you money no matter where you fill up. Download the app or visit GasBuddy.com. Gas Buddy, fuel
and
better.
Remember, Joe.
What's that, Dave?
If you want to go somewhere in your car, you need Gas Buddy.
Today. All 3 locations of the Honey Shop are open. 6 Winthrop Street and 1300 Park Avenue, both in Woonsocket, and 108 Mechanic Street in Bellingham. Something new at all 3 Honey Shop locations is fresh Bulgarian yogurt. No sugars, no colors, no synthetic vitamins. Just simple, pasteurized whole milk and cultures. Be sure to go to the Honey Shop's Facebook page and see all their upcoming events and classes that you can participate in. If you love food, you'll love the Honey Shop.
At Milford Federal Bank, we're not only bankers, we're neighbors, we're friends. We know your stories and you know ours. We participate in the same local traditions, support the same causes, care about the same issues, and take pride in doing our part to make the community the best it can be. Milford Federal Bank, proud to be your neighbor, your friend, and your bank since 1887. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Hum, click, tick tock tick, it's a shower of sound. Pop, bang, cling, clang, in every hour of sound. Words fly fast, people listen and turn their heads around. Radio, radio, you've got the power of sound. Stand tall, say it all, with the power of sound. A fast pace, a marketplace, that's the power of sound. You open ears and pocketbooks, you really do astound. Radio, radio, you've got the power of sound. Radio, radio, you got the power of sound. Radio, the power of sound. Radio, the power of sound. Radio, radio. ON Radio.
Coffee in on ON Radio. This is Joe Callahan here with Bob Lauder. Hello, Bob.
Good. Hi.
Hi there. And joining us on the phone as well, Mike Strout from Gonacue Smokehouse Barbecue. Good morning to you, Mike.
Well, good morning to you.
Thanks for joining us. We're going to get to you in just a second. Bob, it's time for a first message from your law office, please.
Thank you. I'd like to talk to you this morning about tax sales of real estate. Whenever an owner of real estate located in Rhode Island fails to pay the lawfully assessed municipal taxes, or when the owner fails to pay lawfully assessed taxes imposed by a municipal authority, such as a fire district, the tax collector has the right to offer the real estate for sale to a third-party purchaser at a tax sale. In order to establish the validity of the tax sale, the tax collector must first send notice of the sale to the owner and publish notice of the sale in a newspaper circulated in the area where the real estate is located. On the date of the tax sale, the collector will offer the real estate at an auction and accept bids from third-party purchasers. Those purchasers will bid to pay a portion or all of the taxes on the real estate. If the bid is accepted, the bidder will pay the taxes to the tax collector and receive from the tax collector a deed to reflect the interest that they bought from the property. During the year following the auction, the owner of the property has the right to redeem the real estate from the tax sale by paying the tax collector the full amount of the taxes owed, plus the penalty of 10% of the purchase price, if redeemed within 6 months after the date of the sale, plus an additional 1% of the purchase price to each succeeding month, plus all charges for intervening taxes and the rate of expenses incurred on the sale. Upon the receipt of the funds, the tax collector will issue to the owner a deed of redemption. I'll discuss the consequences of failing to redeem the real estate during my next message. If you think my office can be of assistance to you in this or other legal matters, please call me for a telephone appointment. My name is Bob Lauder. My telephone number is 762-4550. And the disclaimer: Supreme Court of Rhode Island licenses all attorneys in the general practice of law. The court does not license or certify any attorney as an expert or specialist in any field of practice. Thank you.
All right, Bob, thank you very much. What's that motor in the background?
It's not at Bob's place.
No.
It's Mike. Mike is in the car driving.
Where are you heading, Mike?
Yeah, Mike. Well, right now I'm going to the restaurant, but in a few minutes we'll be loading the motorhome and we'll be headed to Saratoga Springs, New York.
Oh, very nice.
Is that in the Borscht Belt?
Don't know what that's called, but my complete answer would be it's my grandson's first birthday, and we're going to go celebrate.
Oh, excellent.
Hey, that's good. That's great. You make great memories, Mike, every chance you get.
Now, once again, Mike is the owner of Gonacue Smokehouse Barbecue in the Sierra Plaza and Mendon Road in Cumberland, and it's been we've had Mike on before, a couple of times, and just to give us a brief rundown, Mike, how's it been over the last 4 months? Challenging is the good word, but unlike anything you've ever seen before, right?
There's no playbook to tell you how to maneuver this. It's like you fly by the seat of your pants and you zig and you zag, and hopefully you zig and zag in the right direction.
Yeah.
But Joe, to be serious for a minute here, he's doing what business owners have to do. Try everything, keep what works.
Yeah.
Come up with new ideas. Don't just sit around saying, "Oh, woe is me, I hope this thing ends soon."
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we have friends who own businesses who are doing that, and they're not doing well. But Gonacue is flourishing because he's trying everything. I was always intrigued every time Joe came in with a new commercial here, Mike. And I want to know, how did you get those rotating dessert trucks to spin around like that? And were there any injuries?
Never.
See?
Joe said it was safe, but I just pictured a dessert truck on a turntable, like you have at the car shows where they put the car and it spins around.
Yep.
Rotating dessert trucks. Now, they're all done, right? Because you took the tent down, didn't you?
Yeah, we took the tent down, and we've also chosen not to sell out of our own trailers. Our goal right now is to simplify everything.
Mm-hmm.
and reach back down again. We're working on about 5 outside tables on our sidewalk and about 90 seats inside out of 140, and no bar. So we're hitting the bare minimum we got to hit to at least keep the doors open.
But you've added to the menu, haven't you?
Yes, we have.
Tell us about these tater bombs. I'm intrigued.
Yeah, so-
What's this? Do you really give somebody a fielder's glove, like a baseball glove, and tell them go out and catch your
long.
tater bomb?
That's not quite. It's not, it's not
You don't put
quite
it in a
that.
mortar cast and send it up into the air?
It's a pretty good idea, but no, unfortunately. No, so what we've done is I've always been known to spring things on people. When
Okay.
we launched GottaQ took the world by storm. It really did. We launched and we went crazy. And now in the world of food trucks, which we no longer really live in, there's so many barbecue trucks and so many food trucks that we decided, we're not going to compete in this market anymore because we've got a great restaurant, great catering, great festivals. Well, not this year, but anyway. So we're going to step back a little bit. But in the meantime, I'm going to pull a fast one on the food truck industry, and I'm going to create another brand.
Okay.
So I reached down and found something that no one was doing, baked potatoes, and some of their accessories, and we developed what's called Gottatater. It's a loaded baked potato that's got everything in it from smoked short rib and beer cheese to veggies, broccoli, onions, peppers, the whole bit, to chili and cheese, to you name it. And we created those, and they've worked out. They worked really, really well. We also added a real Montreal poutine. We've added.
See, he says it right, Joe. He says it right.
He said poutine.
Yeah, well,
That's the way I said it.
Putin. Yeah. Well, that's
no, food's on the other side of the world. That's not. It's one side of the world. No, this is poutine. So anyway,
right.
and we also added and I'll tread lightly, a smashed burger patty on the grill that's also loaded with all kinds of goodies and cheeses and all kinds of things. I tread lightly because that word's in turmoil
It's a
in the
trademark
legal
name.
system for
Yeah.
the past 5 years. Yeah. So anyway, and some odds and ends. We've got a Texas hot link sausage that's got our own Jardiniere spicy relish on it, and so we've developed a whole new brand of all kinds of stuff.
So it's tater bombs and burger bombs?
Yep.
And when you use that term, it's kind of like, I think people can picture, because this is radio and we're always trying to get them to dredge up pictures from their mind. They remember what a steak bomb is. It's a steak, but it ain't just a steak. It's got stuff.
It's got stuff. That's a good way to put it. Actually, I'm going to steal that one. Okay.
It's got stuff.
Go for it's yours, Michael. It's yours. You're a client.
Thank you.
If I have a nice thing you can use, you go use it. Although I wouldn't want you to use Local and Live at 99.5 because I need that
no,
one.
that's all right.
But you can
Yeah, you
can
can
use
have that
anything I come up with for you.
Cool, that works.
Now, Bob.
So anyway, what's going to happen is.
Bob, can you hold on for a minute, Mike? Bob, can you picture these potato bombs now?
Not really.
These tater
No.
bombs?
No, I can picture baked potato with things stuffed into it, but how do you eat these out of your hand like a hot dog, or do you have to use a fork on them, or how do you actually consume them?
No forks. No forks allowed.
Okay.
No forks allowed. That's it. It's in a holder. You pick the holder up like you would eat a burrito, and you eat the potato, and you get it all over you. You might want to wear a bib. Things like that.
Especially if you're putting cheese sauce on it. Yeah.
Sea sauce, chili sauce, you name it. I mean, it's all kinds of stuff. So what we've done is we're not going to run the trailer outside, mainly because we're going to cut down on a lot of our labor and a lot of our day-to-day stuff in order to keep our sanity and our bank account somewhat sane. And
Well, you're going in for the long haul, right, Mike? Because this is not just a couple of months inconvenience now. We got to come up with something that's going to last, right?
Yeah, no, I absolutely hate the word normal, and I even hate the new normal even more. It's like, I finally got myself in, my almost 65 years of age, I've almost got myself to where I can comfortably retire and do what I want, and then somebody took the apple cart, turned it upside down, and dropped a boulder on it. So,
And say, go in and fix it.
Well, but you're going up to see your grandson's first birthday party, right? Is it third birthday party? Did I get it right?
What's the first?
Yeah, it is the first birthday party, right?
Yeah.
Joe was signaling me that maybe that the kid was older than that. No. So his first birthday party, and what you just said about how you eat those taters, it sounds like it's made perfectly for a 1-year-old.
Yeah, well, except for it being quite hot.
No forks.
No
Maybe
forks.
a napkin later.
A roll of paper towel would probably be more appropriate.
Yeah, right.
But we're going to move a couple of those items onto the restaurant menu for the rest of the summer, and so we're so we'll be fine. We'll continue moving right along. I'd be happy to have the rest of my seats back, but I mean we'll do the best that we can.
Sure.
So, Mike, you were telling me with the tater bombs, so you split open the potato,
right,
and you scoop some of the potato out.
Oh, okay.
And then throw some of the stuff inside, then put the potato back and put more toppings on top. Is that correct? Did I have that right?
But you're almost correct.
Almost
we take
correct.
The potato out. We take the potato out and we take the topping and we put it on the flat top grill and we mix it all together. So you're sort of making a home fryer hash brown or potato patty, except that now you've got all of the toppings in there, plus this nice crispy potato, and then you put it all back inside the potato, and it sticks up about at least half as high as the potato itself. So it's pretty cool when we get done.
So you're making a potato a meal.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Sounds great.
Especially when you put bacon on it. Yum.
Bacon. We love bacon.
Yeah, we got that too. We got bacon. We got bacon. We got cheese. We got pulled pork. We got brisket. We've got sausage.
You can put all that stuff in there?
Anything you like. We've got about 37.
I was going to ask Mike that. I go, what if someone took a look at like your 18 toppings and said, I really want
pepperoni.
I really want pepperoni. Can you throw that on there? So the answer is yes, as long as you have it.
And all kinds of cheese, right? Yeah.
Okay.
So it's a potato with stuff.
Well, that's cool.
Potato with stuff. Yes.
All right, we're going to take a break right now, Mike, so hang back for just a little bit. And, Bob, it's time for a second message from your law office, please.
Thank you. In my commercial message a few minutes ago, I discussed the procedure which accompanies a tax sale and the eventual redemption of the real estate which has been sold to a third-party purchaser at the sale. As you may have heard, redemption procedure can be undertaken by an owner within a year of the date of the sale. Once more than a year has passed since the date of the tax sale, the purchaser of the tax deed has the right to file litigation in the Superior Court of the county wherein the real estate is located and seek from the court an order foreclosing forever the owner's right to redeem the property. The owner will be provided with notice of this litigation in the form of a summons and a copy of the complaint and petition to foreclose the right of redemption. In the event the court grants the petition and orders the foreclosure of the owner's right to redeem, the successful bidder at the tax sale will be granted title to the real estate. While frequently the fair market value of the real estate is equivalent to the total amount of taxes paid at the sale, there are cases which arise wherein the amount paid at the tax sale is significantly less than the fair market value of the real estate, and the purchaser of the tax deed may in fact acquire land with the fair market value significantly higher than the amount paid on past due taxes. In the event you're an owner of real estate which is subject of unpaid taxes, I strongly suggest you discuss with an attorney the various remedies which may be available to you to prevent the loss of a valuable asset. If you think my office may be of assistance to you in this or other legal matters, please call me for a telephone appointment. My name is Bob Lauder. My telephone number is 762-4550. And the disclaimer, Supreme Court of Rhode Island licensed all attorneys in the general practice of law. The court does not license to certify any attorney as an expert or specialist in any field of practice. Thank you.
All right, Bob. Very good. We're going to take a break on the Coffee and program right now. Comments and questions can be called in at 766-1240 or by email, coffee@OneSocketRadio.com. Riverfront Patio Dining awaits you at River Falls Restaurant. Enjoy your lunch or dinner as you overlook the Blackstone River. Here are some of the wonderful items on the menu. Steak and peppers pizza, baked stuffed haddock, and choice filet mignon. Make your River Falls Restaurant reservations today by calling 401-235-9026. 235-9026 or go online to riverfallscomplex.com. You'll love the Riverfront Patio Dining at River Falls Restaurant, Market Square, Woonsocket.
Call 877-DRIVE-ED.
Who's Ed? That's the number for Levante's Auto School.
You can't wait to get your license. You want to get behind the wheel and drive. Let's roll. You want to be in control, but you gotta learn how to survive.
Learning how to drive. For most teenagers, it's an important time in their life. In fact, most teenagers look forward to it for a long time. When your teenage son or daughter is ready, why not select Levante's Auto School, 4-star rated, and a school that understands how important it is to get a good start. Levante's also makes it extra convenient by scheduling classes at night, on weekends, and during school vacations. They accommodate your schedule. Levante's Auto School, 1-877-DRIVE-ED, accepting Rhode Island and Massachusetts students.
Call 877-DRIVE-ED. Who's Ed?
That's Levante's Auto School.
And now, Levante's Auto School is certified by both Rhode Island and Massachusetts to teach the driver's training course over the Internet. No need to wait. Call now.
Tater bombs have arrived at the Gotta Tater trailer at Gotta Q Smokehouse Barbecue. Every Friday, Saturday, and Sunday from 2 to 7 p.m., you can sink your teeth into an awesome baked potato with your choice of up to 18 different toppings. There is also the burger bombs, hot dogs, Montreal poutine, and hand-cut fries at the Gotta Tater trailer. All at Gotta Q Smokehouse Barbecue, Sierra Plaza, Mendon Road, Cumberland. Tater bombs at Gotta Q. You like the bombs, Mike?
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
Pretty cool. Tater bombs at Gotta Q. This is Coffee Ann. I'm Joe Callahan here with Bob Lauder, Mike Strout from Gotta Q Smokehouse Barbecue. We're talking about his new venture that he's going into at his restaurant. They're called Tater Bombs, which is basically a baked potato with any kind of topping you can basically think of that can go on the potato, which is pretty cool because he scoops out the potato, then he takes what toppings you want, throws it on the grill, grills it up so you have a nice topping, a nice crunchy topping. Then he puts it back on top of the potato. So Bob, how many do you think these could you eat in one sitting?
Me?
Yeah, you.
Probably one would about fill me up. But before you go to that, where is the place located?
Go ahead, Mike. Tell us where you are.
Where we are is at 2000 Mendon Road in Cumberland. And
Okay, for those of us who identify things by landmarks that almost no longer exist, where is that?
It's where Almax used to be.
That's good.
That would be Cumberland Plaza. That's CVS, Diabra, Ace Hardware, and all kinds of stuff. Okay,
DePault's Ace Hardware.
Yeah.
That's it.
Right. Yeah, he's right next door to DePault's, actually.
Yeah.
So can you picture it, Bob?
Yes.
Okay. Bank of America is up the road, kind of where the lights are. Used to be an Eastland Bank.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Great.
As long as
yeah,
you
when
know
the
where
ice house burned down in Austport, yeah, those are the kind of Rhode Island directions.
Boy.
Uh-oh.
Close your door, Mike.
Alarm.
Yeah, no, I just had somebody walk up and it's trying desperately to talk to me, and I'm trying to desperately tell them that I don't want to talk to them.
All right.
Anyway.
Do you need to go, Mike?
Yeah, it looks like I probably do.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Well,
So anyway, thanks, guys.
It's disappointing, but do you have any final words before we say goodbye? Goodbye.
I don't like last words. I like opening statements better than last words.
All right, very good, Mike. So enjoy the tater bombs at Gotta Q Smokehouse Barbecue.
Good luck on the trip to see a grandson.
Thank you, guys.
All right, take care.
Bye-bye.
Mike Strout from Gotta Q Smokehouse Barbecue joining us here on the Coffee and program. So now that Mike's out, let's go back to Bob.
Okay.
Because I have a question for you, Bob, and maybe for you too, Dave. And because you guys, my memory doesn't go back as far as you guys do, but have you ever remembered a time back where where other politicians would come out and say, I don't like what the current president is doing, I'm going to sue him? Because that's all I seem to hear nowadays, is we're going to sue the government, we're going to sue the president. Do you ever recall a time in the past where I'm suing Nixon, I'm suing Kennedy, I'm suing Eisenhower, where people were saying this?
No, I can't remember anything similar to that. And when people are talking about suing the president now, I'm not sure that they, if it's a politician, say the mayor of a particular city, I don't think they're suing him personally so much as they are bringing litigation to try and either overturn an executive order or overturn a implementation of law that the president's administration may be fulfilling. So I don't think it's a personal lawsuit against the individual.
I don't think you can't prosecute a personal lawsuit against a sitting executive for their job performance or disagreement of politics. You'd never have anybody be effective in the office, regardless of their gifts.
Yeah, it's not against the individual. It could be against the government as a whole. And
sure, you can sue the administration, you can sue the executive branch, but you can't sue the president.
Right. I would think that the statements that are made that someone says, I'm going to sue the president over this particular issue, is a generalization that is not accurate at all.
Right,
They're not
it isn't.
Personally suing the president, they are suing the government, and it's different from that.
Because I've heard...
I cannot recall anybody actually suing
the administration?
A sitting president in the past, personally, no.
Okay.
It probably has happened, but I just not recall it.
No, they didn't even use the phrase back then.
Maybe not. I'm just thinking because of the the problems going on in some of these other cities, and the mayors keep coming out, well, we're going to put a stop to it. We won't allow these federal troops to come in, and we're going to go to court to stop it, get some kind of injunction.
I think that is a legal avenue that the municipal authorities certainly have available to them. I'm not going to suggest whether or not they're going to be successful in it, but yeah, they have the right to do that.
And the courts would have the power to stop the troops from coming in?
Well, jurisdiction gets to be a problem then, right, Bob?
Well, you'd be in federal court.
Right.
And federal court would have the authority because there's three branches of government. There's the executive, the president, there's the legislative, the Senate and the House, and there's the judiciary. And they each have checks and balances, and the judiciary can issue a restraining order and say, no, you cannot do this. For example, with the immigration and the border wall, a federal court could say, the administration, no, you cannot construct the border wall. Now, if they do that, then if it goes to the Supreme Court and the Supreme Court were to confirm the lower court's opinion, then you have an injunction, and the administration cannot build the border wall. Well, in this particular case, when you're saying to the administration, we're going to be looking for a court order that says you cannot bring federal troops into our city to participate in this kind of activity, if the courts say you can't do it, then the government is obliged not to do it.
Okay. Well, just to let you know, Bob, the governor of Massachusetts, he agrees with you, and so does the mayor of Boston. They both agree with you. They don't like the idea that Trump is taking they both think Trump's taking the wrong approach to sending troops into Portland, Oregon, and other cities.
I think that the president is trying to portray a position of law and order, and I think he is doing it in a manner that is not fulfilling the overall goals of law and order so much as it may be fulfilling his personal goals of appearing to be a strong law and order advocate. It sounds as though from the news media that the presence of the federal troops has only exacerbated the situation and made it worse. And I don't think that is in the best interest of the municipality at all.
Well, according to the governor and according to the mayor of Boston, they both believe, and Dave has brought this up too, it's because the leaders of those cities did not request help from the federal government, and Trump is just showing up with his, well, he, not him personally, but Trump is just telling these people to go, as opposed to waiting, saying, all right, the situation is really out of control from our standpoint, we need help from the federal government. So since they didn't ask for help,
don't need help from the federal government because the state has the National Guard within the state. And if the governor of the state felt that it was important to bring in outside forces to try and calm the situation, the governor could activate the National Guard and say, okay, we're sending in troops from this particular guard unit to fulfill this particular kind of extra policing activity. The governor has not thought that was important. The mayor has not asked the governor for any outside assistance. Here is the national government stepping in and saying, we're going to take over, we are going to do this. And it's not a situation where the government is enforcing a federal policy. We all remember back to the 1950s when...
not all of us, Bob.
Okay, one of us remembers back to the 1950s when President Eisenhower sent federal troops in to enforce the Equal Opportunities Act with regard to education.
Okay.
There couldn't be discrimination in education, and he sent forces into some of the southern states, Arkansas, Little Rock, I believe, and said you have to enforce, well, at that time, it was the Supreme Court ruling that said you had to have no discrimination in education, not racial discrimination.
Right. Mr. Kennedy had to do similar things down in the South.
But that was enforcing a federal law and a federal court ruling. Here, the president is not enforcing a federal law or a federal court ruling. He's coming in and saying, basically, I am on my own taking over and exercising federal authority in a situation where it has neither been called for nor appears, in my mind, appears to be absolutely necessary.
Well, let me play...
I don't think that you need federal troops to prevent broken windows and graffiti.
Well, Bob, excuse me a second here, Joe. You just jogged my memory on something. I was so very young when this happened, but I think I understand what was going on. Wasn't it Alabama Governor George Wallace that refused to let the federal troops come in and enforce the segregation laws in educational facilities in Alabama?
I thought it was Governor Orville Forbes, but I'm not sure. But Orville Forbes, I think, was Mississippi. But
yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes,
Wallace was the senator.
Right. No, Wallace was the governor of is it Arkansas, I think.
Oh, gosh. Now, yeah. All right, my memory's a little hazy on that because I was in third grade or something. Back. But, yeah.
Oh, the third grade. Oh, good. Thank you. Okay.
Well, I kept up on things going on, but they meant different things to me, so I don't have all the facts permanently memorized.
I realize I'm the only one who personally.
But what I'm saying
William
is that
McKinley.
we during the Kennedy administration, when he wanted to send in federal troops, the governor of the state said, no, we don't want the federal troops here. Do I remember that correctly?
You do, and the federal troops could still go in.
Right.
Because in that case...
So this is not totally unprecedented.
No, it's not unprecedented. But the circumstances under which the troops are being sent in is entirely different. In the segregation cases, it was to enforce federal law. In the cases out in Washington State, Portland, Oregon, it's not to enforce
How is that
federal
different,
law.
Bob? They're citing a federal law that they're enforcing now regarding defacing federal structures, monuments and such, and buildings.
I think that is way over emphasizing a...
Think they're reaching on that?
Circumstance. Oh, personally, I believe they are. Yeah.
All right. Bob's giving me the time sign.
No, Joe.
Joe's giving me the Bob sign. The
Bob sign.
Joe's giving me the Bob sign, so I have to cut it off here, I guess.
All right, Bob. We come to the end of the program, so we thank you all for listening in, and I think we've solved all the problems for today, so that's good. Well, thanks to Mike Strout from Gotta Q Smokehouse Barbecue for joining us earlier, and Bob, thanks for joining us